The third commandment is remember to keep holy the Lord's day. We are into the section of the Ten Commandments, and we're up to the third commandment. These first three commandments of the 10 of the Decalogue, as they're also called, these first three have to do with man's obligation to directly to God. The first was not to have false gods, not to have any false gods. The second was to treat God's holy name in a holy way and not in vain. This third one is to keep God's day holy. So the first is about God himself, the second about his name, the third is about his day. There's the day that he has especially sanctified and blessed, which was the seventh day of creation. He created the world and everything in it in 6 days. And on the seventh day, he rested and blessed the seventh day and decreed that man should also rest from his labors on the seventh day. And this is an important way, I think, maybe to look at this is that God made man in order to that he have rest, I guess. I suppose to work and to fulfill his responsibility, and always, of course, to look forward to the rest, which is important as well. That man is not, that this is something that makes man different from the beasts, from the animals, who don't rest in a certain sense, who cannot take the time to stop and so as to sort of indicate man's supremacy in the visual in the created order, in the visible world. Man recognizes that he has to stop and anyway imitate the God who has created the world by keeping holy that day of rest. Okay, so we and then of course that's the Sabbath, and then what the church has done is the church has transferred that obligation of keeping holy the Lord's day to the day of Sunday in particular, and recognizing that the Sunday, which is the day of the resurrection, is the day on which our Lord rose from the dead, and in so rising has freed man from the burden of this world. So because of what our Lord accomplished on Easter Sunday in his resurrection, that has now become the day of the Lord. That's the day which the church obliges that we keep holy, more so than the Sabbath formerly, which I guess is Saturday. So the church has transferred the particular obligation of sanctifying and keeping holy, in particular the Sunday, which is the Lord's Day, which is Dominica, is the name of the Latin word for Sunday, and Dominica means of the Lord. So we keep the day holy, and we the way we sanctify the day is by participating in Mass. There are also other holy days throughout the year. So all the days we're supposed to keep, and we're supposed to sort of recognize them and to see them sort of as destinations as we proceed throughout our days and weeks and years, that we look forward to arriving at these holy days, so that we can rest, that we can give to God the glory and the praise which belongs to him rightly, that we can give God honor by how we regard our loved ones and our neighbors and those who are in need, by resting from work, and by spending time, and by contributing to those who are relieving those who are in need and visiting them and things of this nature. So we look forward to these days, these feast days, these holy days. We call them in the church, we call them holy days of obligation when they are accompanied by the obligation that the church has given to participate in Mass, which is the case for all of the Sundays throughout the year. And there's also some other days of obligation as well. Our Lady's Feast Day in December, for instance, the 8th of December, the Immaculate Conception, the Assumption of Our Lady in August, and All Saints' Day in November on the 1st. So there are certain days which are holy, which also include the obligation of attending Mass. So the obligation of participating in Mass, that's the way we keep the day holy. I mean, that's when that's available to us, when we're able to participate in it. That is to say, we're not prevented by any serious reason. We're not sick, or caring for those who are sick, or caring for those who are otherwise for whom it's impossible to come. Then the church has obliged us, and the obligation is serious. It's grave, so that we cannot set it aside for ourselves lightly. That it's a serious thing for us to, it would be for serious reason. For instance, we are sick, as I mentioned, that we wouldn't be able to participate. And so, because it's serious, it obliges under pain of sin, which is one way of calling it. That is, should we deliberately exclude ourselves for no good reason from participating in Mass, then that is, and we do that knowing full well what we're doing and what's at stake. Then that's what's referred to as a mortal sin. The object being grave, the knowledge being full about that. We know better and the deliberate nature in which we're proceeding. So that would be something that we would have to confess the numbers of times that we have stayed away from Sunday Mass. Of course, when the obligation is lifted, as it is currently right now during the time of the coronavirus, then of course then there is no obligation that applies in this particular instance. But when the obligation does apply, then that's the kind of thing we have to confess for having missed. And again, it's because we worship God with our whole heart, our whole mind, our whole soul, and our whole strength. And we're happy to mark His day, to make His day holy through our participation in the Mass. The Mass, especially, is how the Church, better than any other way that we have, how the Church makes the day holy. We make the day holy through our prayerful crying out to the Lord, or calling out to the Lord all the day, from early in the morning till late at night. We're always raising our hearts and minds in prayer to the Lord. And then, of course, the most wonderful prayer that we can pray is as the holy sacrifice of the Mass, which Father offers, and that's Father's job. He has the obligation to that's his purpose for being sent into the place where he's sent to, is to celebrate the Mass and make that place, that day holy, especially for those in the neighborhood, so that they can come and participate, because the obligation is real for folks to make it holy. And so the obligation for the priest is real, that he has to go and he has to say the Mass, and he has to say it in a worthy manner, in a way that people can participate in it. And he says it, and in so celebrating the Mass, he celebrates it for the people on the Lord's Day, on the day of obligation, and prays for the people to God. And so this is how we sanctify the day and keep it holy. Okay, these are just some thoughts about the third commandment. You shall remember to keep holy the Lord's Day. If you like the video, go ahead and pass it along, and thank you for listening.